winter has seen various extreme temperature records being broken across the globe, be it with the European heat waves or the cold Arctic outbreaks across the US, including various winter storms. Now, perhaps the most notable was what happened in Texas in February 2021. Texas experienced historic and brutal cold, with their pipes freezing over and bursting, cutting out their power and their water supplies for days. Not only that, but the animals also couldn't handle the cold, with even the turtles being left stunned and needing urgent rescue. Unfortunately, it begs the question for many people whether climate change and global warming are still an issue if Texas is so much colder than normal.
With the global warming and that, a lot of it's a hoax.
Now, to understand a bit behind why Texas has been so cold, you need to know a little bit about a term called sudden stratospheric warming. Now, I'll try not to bore you with all the technical details, but sudden stratospheric warming is essentially a phenomenon that occurs most winters in the Northern Hemisphere. But how major or minor it is can depend on how badly it impacts us. Now, sudden stratospheric warming is a rapid rise in temperature in the stratosphere, which is around 10 to 50 kilometers above the atmosphere. Now, when this event occurs, it impacts something called the polar vortex. Again, I'll try not to get too techy, but the polar vortex is essentially a ribbon of winds sat over the Arctic and keeping all of that cold air to the Arctic most of the time. But when the sudden stratospheric warming occurs, the winds of the polar vortex can weaken or even reverse. Now, if you think, those winds then start to wobble and that colder air can then spill southwards. And in March 2018, that happened here in the UK, and we termed it the beast from the east. Whereas in February 2021, the US received the brunt of that, and in particular Texas. Now, here's where you need to understand the fundamental differences between weather and climate, because even whilst the world continues to warm, we're still going to see these extreme weather events as part of the Earth's natural variability, be it hot or cold. And that's the key difference between weather and climate. Weather being the short-term variability, the extremes that we're still going to continue to see, and climate, which is the longer-term trend. So yes, to answer any of your doubts, climate change and global warming are still a very real issue. And as the world continues to warm, we're still likely to experience these extreme weather events, and perhaps more so because of climate change.